Nerds Watchers. Abby here.
Elliot here.
And this week we are talking about State of Play, the movie that is based off of the 6-hour BBC British miniseries. Just to let you know, I did do my homework and I did watch the miniseries.
She always does her homework. I'm the guy who shows up to class like 15 minutes early and scribbles it down. Abby is the person who's got like a thoroughly annotated report.
It doesn't hurt that I'm obsessed with all things BBC, but
and
that
really,
aside,
who isn't?
Let's talk about State of Play. Let's rock it.
But before we rock it, prequel to the rocking it, there's a very interesting thing going on. You could be watching this video two places.
Yes, indeed, you could.
Okay, so not just we're expanding. We're pulling a manifest destiny on the internet's collective ass.
We are spreading ourselves around, if you will.
So instead of just being able to watch us on YouTube, which, you know, many of you are probably doing that right now, we also have a new blog, Abby.
Yes, indeed. It is twoawesomemovienerds.wordpress.com, so if you're familiar with our title, not too hard to look up.
And not too shabby either.
Not too shabby either. Pretty darn good looking, if I do say so myself. What we're going to do is post our videos here from YouTube onto the blog as well, in addition to any other textual reviews and or film-related rants we may want to post, either from myself or from Elliot.
Or, you know, anything that we've been doing elsewhere, reviews from that Abby's written for our school paper or that we've done for SceneStealers.com. This is going to become the central hub of the TAMN verse,
Enterprise, yes.
as it were. But now we can rock it. I'm sorry, I just wanted to get that out of it.
That's good. Good advertising.
Thank you. First of all, State of Play rocks. Absolutely
rocks.
It takes this thriller concept that we're all so utterly familiar with, but actually turns it on its ear and makes it even more interesting. And you know what? For somebody who's seen 13,000 thrillers that sort of follow the same plot line, I'm glad that I kept guessing during the entire thing.
Absolutely. This is an old school journalism thriller movie, kind of in the vein of things like All the President's Men, Shattered Glass,
etc.
etc. Basically, all of the wonderful journalism films, except this one, I think, is a bit more hardcore. It takes
Absolutely.
a harder line and is a bit more actiony and has...
As well it should, I think.
And has very interesting relationship developments, something that the miniseries actually, I think, lacked. In fact, I think this movie kind of is better in a lot of ways than the original miniseries, as much as it was interesting and critically acclaimed. The story here centers on Russell Crowe playing seasoned reporter Cal McCaffrey.
Like this
Russell.
is the kind. Well, you know, first of all, I got a bit of a thing for Russell Crowe. Just gonna say. Second of all, this is the kind of reporter I want to be. Like, I mean, I have to say. Well, first of all, he's fantastic, but it's also we're journalism students. Like this kind of thing, like had us slobbering from the minute we walked into the theater.
Pretty much.
So Cal McCaffrey, the seasoned reporter, his cubicle looks like, you know,
a collage, basically.
Yeah, his the Hiroshima bomb was dropped in the middle of like thousands of pounds of newsprint, and he's got like little clips and things and all that sort of thing. But it's also just like the personality of going after the story and, you know, being sly and, you know, collecting data and stuff like that. I was just smitten with his character from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And you pair with him Della Fry, great names in this movie.
Young, enterprising blogger for the web side of the currently redesigning process newspaper, the Washington Globe.
If you're not reading the underlying stuff there, you should be looking just a little
Super
bit harder.
topical.
Okay, so played by Rachel McAdams, who's actually really surprisingly awesome in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I probably most loved about their relationship is this new world news versus old Roman news, just like butting heads all the time, talking about content and the way they actually pursue things.
And in addition, an interesting kind of mentor relationship going on that I enjoyed quite a bit. I think their dynamic was really great and they worked very well together.
Absolutely. So those are the two key players, but there are many, many key players who we've yet to address, but that's okay. So basically the idea is this. Cal starts out the movie trying to get a lead on this double murder, or this attempted double murder that happens in Georgetown, when this kid just gets shot and nobody really knows why, and there was no, like, it was like clearly like a very well done job, and it wasn't just like a crime of passion, and he's trying to get to the bottom of this. But at the same time, his former college roommate, he's the representative from the state of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, yes, played by Ben Affleck.
Stephen Collins, a person who had been working for him, ends up dead on the DC Metro. Which, having experienced the DC Metro, I am appalled that they would suggest that the DC Metro is unsafe.
It's such a nice place.
It really is. But moving on. So basically, we've got Della delving into this one story of like the DC gossip with whether or not this girl who who was killed in the metro was in fact sleeping with him beforehand, and we have Cal pursuing the murder, and then all of a sudden
they're connected. Go figure.
Go figure. And so the entire movie, and you know what, I'm kind of inclined not to tell any more plot details because I feel as though
it's just such a big tangled web of interestingness that just keeps getting more and more interesting. There were audible gasps in the theater, which I loved.
Love that when that happens. But it's also the fact that, you know what, this is the kind of movie where it's really enjoyable to experience these twists happen as opposed to the kind of M. Night Shyamalan, oh, well, duh,
no. This is more subtle, this is more creepy, this is way more fun.
Absolutely, but, you know, suffice it to say, this is an actual believable plot that I found utterly engrossing, and, you know what, I was on the edge of my seat, like, literally, during this one of these things.
And it helps that the talent behind the camera is pretty darn impressive. Ooh. You have the director behind Last King of Scotland, and you have 2 out of 3 of the writers on this script, Billy Ray, who was responsible for Shattered Glass and Breach, and of course the amazing Tony Gilroy, lately of Duplicity, and of course Michael Clayton, the multi-Oscar award-winning Michael Clayton.
So before you know, a single frame of film was shot.
I was drooling the minute I knew who was working on this.
But,
it was just a dream project.
But that, I sort of see that as like the lead up to an amazing cast. So these two things combined, this thing said nothing but home run from start to finish.
Totally.
So one of the things that Abby and I were talking about is the fact that, you know, the cast is utterly astounding from top to bottom, even the people in the really, really small roles.
They have Viola Davis in like a 30-second cameo.
Yeah.
That's how good this cast is.
And you know what? I said to Abby, with her luck, she'll get an Oscar nod for that 30-second cameo.
Yep.
I mean, but you've got amazing performances by Helen Mirren, Jeff Daniels, Jason Bateman. I'm missing people. I've got to be missing people, right? Like,
Robin Wright Penn.
Thank you, Robin Wright Penn. I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's just like, it's stacked actors with amazing, amazing people. Mm-hmm. So even the smaller roles, you have quality people filling them out, which meant that it felt even more thoroughly just like developed to me.
Completely. So we're gonna have to wrap it up because we're coming close to the hey, YouTube's putting a limit on our time thing.
By the way, I have a bone to pick with you, YouTube.
Advertisers.
You know what?
We're worth advertising.
Yeah, not only are we worth advertising, but we're the people who make what you do actually work. So
shiz. You know what? That craft ad that you posted on the Wheezy Waiter video like a couple of weeks ago, I totally watched that. The advertising works. The cake looked good. I'm gonna make it.
She's gonna make
that,
the cake.
Advertisers.
Yeah.
Shabam.
So, you know what? Unless you guys start to lighten up, I'm just gonna, like, you know, move to a cabin in Wisconsin and write some really, really great music. So,
there much.
Thank you. For those of you who didn't get that reference, you know what? It's the internet. Go find something. But this is an amazing movie, and we haven't spent nearly as much time talking about it as we possibly could. But you know what? I think some of the best moments in a critic's choices come when they're like, you know what? Just go experience for yourself. Just trust us when we say quality top to bottom. You're going to be wowed. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Believe us when we say that we are the two awesome movie nerds. So go forth and watch.